PBGA Missoula, you're listening to Missing 中国. Today, our language theme is the 97th element in the periodical table, which is Berkelium, and in Chinese, pei. And I'll use the homophone pei, meaning to accompany as the theme. So, can you relate it to any movie, Mr. C?
Sure. So when you say the word accompany, I think of buddy pictures, what they call buddy pictures. Usually it's two friends. Sometimes it's like Bonnie and Clyde. It might be a man and woman friend going on a crime spree. Or sometimes it's just a straight up comedy. Although it seems that usually some sort of thriller or crime aspect is injected, whether it's a funny movie or not. So I'll just go through a list of really good buddy movies from each of the decades, beginning with the last decade going all the way back to the 1970s. But we'll start with the 1970s. And we'll talk about Silver Streak, which I believe was made in 1977. And it's the first on-screen pairing between Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. Two great comedians. They're no longer with us, but they made several movies, 4 or 5 movies together. Stir Crazy, which was made in 1980, is probably the funniest, but they're always buddy pictures. And it starts with Silver Streak, which takes place on a train. It's kind of a mystery. And of course, it's Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor, very funny. Then we'll jump up to the 1980s for the buddy cop picture that sort of set the standard for all buddy cop pictures that followed. And I'm talking about 48 Hours. This one had Nick Nolte and a very young Eddie Murphy. Obviously, very funny. Also, some of the most thunderous gunshots ever recorded in a movie. Very funny movie and also very good crime movie. And then in the 90s, we'll talk about Thelma and Louise, right? 2 women going out on the road. One of them almost gets raped, and the other one shoots the guy who tries to rape her. And so then they go on the run from the police. People read all kinds of politics into it, but the truth is it's just a good buddy picture, just part of the tradition of buddy pictures and buddies on the run from the law, etc. So then up in the 2000s, the first decade of the 2000s, when I think of buddy pictures, I think of the very funny movie Sideways, about a writer and sort of a washed-up actor who's about to get married. They go up from Southern California up to Northern California to wine country, and it's a very funny movie. And what's even nicer about Sideways, it's directed by Alexander Payne, who makes some very good movies. And it's a movie essentially for adults. It's a comedy for adults. I always appreciate when film directors don't try to pander to 12-year-olds. And then finally, in the last decade, we had The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling and the guy from, now I can't remember his name, from Gladiator. I'm really amazed that I can't remember his name now. But anyway, it's a detective movie that takes place in the 70s. It's very funny, The Nice Guys. So there you go. Silver Streak, 48 Hours, Thelma and Louise, Sideways, and The Nice Guys. All buddy pictures, all movies that to me go along with accompany.
So it seems like these buddy movies are funny movies, comedies.
Well, I think Thelma and Louise is not really a comedy. And 48 Hours walks a very fine line between tough guy crime movie and comedy. I think, though, anytime you have a kind of a buddy picture, there's going to be a comedic element because there's something fun about a friendship that we see on the screen there. And I imagine that audiences often can kind of relate to it. With 2 of those movies, Silver Streak and 48 Hours, you have a black guy and a white guy. So it also kind of contributed to healing the old racial wounds in the United States that for some reason have recently been reopened. But for a time there, those movies were also fun to watch because they, of course, demonstrated that bigotry is idiotic.
Okay, thank you for the long lecture. Hope you enjoy everything.